Welcome to South Africa. You're the new intern. My name is Enrique, and I'm the head of the personnel department here. It's great that someone has traveled so far to learn more about how to keep African wildlife. I sometimes get the feeling that all young guys think of nothing but soccer. We're only in the building phase, but my boss has some ambitious plans. Since his last visit to the US, he's been raved. So between you and me, my boss is a real entrepreneur and seems to have gotten mixed up with some dubious investors. If you want my opinion, the only thing these guys care about is money. They don't give a damn about the animals. But on the other hand, we desperately need those investors here because in the past, the state has been pumping money into conserving the rich diversity of animal species. But now it looks like those funds are needed to maintain all the new soccer stadiums they've been building. But hey, enough of that. I want to show you something. Follow me. Tip, use the mouse wheel to zoom out and move the mouse to the edge of the screen to follow Enrique. You can also use the arrow keys on your keyboard to do this. We're planning a big adventure park here, where visitors from all over the world can see the most magnificent African animals right up close. It will be a unique experience for the whole family. We haven't introduced any big cats here yet, as they're more difficult to keep than grazing animals. Come on, I'll show you around. Tip, use the arrow keys or move the mouse to the edge of the screen. Take a look into this enclosure. You're a city dweller, eh? So maybe these stripes look a little familiar, huh? Only kidding. This is Bianca, our baby zebra. Bianca was only born a few weeks ago, but sadly her mother did not survive the birth. It is important you learn how to handle vulnerable animals, so that's why first we're going to attend to Bianca. Let's see how Bianca is getting on. Every time you select an animal, a list of the current well-being status and needs of that animal will appear on the bottom right of the screen. Like all hoofed animals, zebras are herd animals, so we want to integrate Bianca into our herd of zebras. Maybe we'll find a surrogate mother willing to suckle her. So please put Bianca in the zebra enclosure close by, next to the water trough if you can. Tip. Select an animal and then click OK. Well done! Take some time to have a look around our park. We have another enclosure with gazelles. Oh yeah, if you're through with the task or don't know what to do next, use the flashing button at the top here to find out more about the tasks you have open. Good! Here you can see an overview of all your outstanding tasks and your progress in each one. But right now, Sarah, the park's landscape architect, is waiting for you by the gazelle.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and I'm supervising the development of the wildlife park. I'd love you to help me learn how to design enclosures to suit the needs of different species. Designing an enclosure is one of the most creative but demanding tasks in a wildlife park. It's really fun to actually build your own design concepts. But first, I'd like to use the gazelle enclosure to show you the best way of building an animal enclosure. The most important equipment in an animal enclosure is the feeding device. And there are different types of facilities for different food, sometimes also in different sizes and at different heights. Herbivores can also feed on the foliage in the enclosure, but for this, we would need to build really big enclosures that are difficult to manage. So let's look for some suitable feeding devices to place in the enclosure. You'll find these in the enclosure facilities section on the top left. We've only placed drinking troughs in the gazelle enclosure for the moment. So now select appropriate feeding devices for our gazelles and put them in the enclosure. It's important to position them so that both the animals and the keeper have free access to them from all sides. That turned out really well. A keeper will now fill up the feeding device and the gazelle can now enjoy a hearty meal. When you select one of the gazelles, you will also see that minerals are an important part of a balanced diet, too. So now try placing 2 salt licks in the enclosure. Again, make sure they are placed far enough away from the other facilities in the enclosure and from the enclosure perimeter. You can now see the gazelles go to the salt licks to restore their mineral balance. To do this, select a gazelle and then the food section where you can use the bars to see how well their food requirement is currently being satisfied. Okay, so now that the gazelles have a healthy diet, we'll move on to their physical well-being. Many animals that have a coat need places where they can scratch and scrape. If you have a cat, then you'll know what I mean. Now try to find a scratching device in the enclosure facilities section and install it in the gazelle enclosure. Again, make sure you select a suitable spot so the gazelles can get to it easily from all sides. Well done! The gazelles are now totally satisfied, and we can now focus on designing the new enclosure. We're in the process of planning an enclosure here that is big enough for a herd of up to 5 gnus. We have already finished a section of the enclosure fencing, and now I'd like you to finish it off for me. Let's now see if the gnus can be delivered. To do that, you're now in a sort of marketplace for wild animals. Look! Our new trader is now advertising his animals for sale. So we should act as quickly as possible. We'll just take 1 gnu at first. It's better if you learn how to handle a single animal before we establish the entire. So now select a gnu and go to Buy at the bottom right of the menu. Then select the spot where you want to place the gnu. Great! It's done! It's always a thrill. You can now select the gnu at any time and move it to another place. You've already learned how to build and equip an enclosure for a hoofed animal using the example of the gazelle enclosure. Now try to satisfy the gnu's needs too. Here's another tip. You could copy a great deal from the gazelle enclosure. Well done! The gnu is already settling into his new home. But as you know, it's a herd animal and will want to be surrounded by a sufficient number of its own kind. Now try to bring more news into the enclosure until the entire herd is happy and contented. I'm so proud of you. You've actually managed to make all the news I would now like to introduce you to our gardener, Nelson. He's standing by the Jeep track and— Hey, Nelson! Gazelles are also incredibly shy animals, and that's why it's particularly difficult for the park visitors to drive too near them without scaring them off. Unfortunately, our orange trees have become rather shriveled in transit, and you can help Nelson. So to ensure our orange trees flourish and bear some— Now try to select a spot with just the right amount of ground hardness for the orange trees, and use the mouse to place it along the row. If you select a tree and then select the Details button on the bottom right, you can find— Excellent! This ground is perfect for orange trees, and we now want to place a line of orange trees along the Jeep track. You'll find the plants on the top left by the flashing button. You will also find orange trees under subtropical plants. Select the orange tree and then go to the Buy button in the bottom section of the menu and place a further 8 orange trees along the Jeep track. Remember, plants are also living things that need looking after and nurturing, so they produce beautiful blooms and don't wither and die. You should also ensure that the trees are planted in the correct— Hey, it's looking really good! The line of trees can now really flourish and blossom. Our gardener Nelson will see to it that the plants are always well watered and fertilized. They may even produce some delicious, juicy oranges that the visitors can pluck from the branches. Your internship is coming to an end. As an extra reward, you will receive a gold-plated African sculpture. You can display it in your own park if you want to have one at a later date. Tip: you will constantly receive gifts throughout the game, and you can view them by selecting the button on the top right.
Congratulations! You have successfully completed your internship in South Africa.